Hey everyone, Morgan here. So today we're going to be talking about your prepper library. All right, so let me show you real quick the stack of books that I got here. Woo! This isn't even a drop in the bucket when it comes to my book collection. And I also have a ton of ebooks and downloaded PDFs and things. So I'm not going to talk like super specifically about like all my books and the authors and things like that. I think I'll do that in a blog post. But I really wanted to give you guys an idea of what type of books you could be filling up your prepper library with. And information in your prepper library doesn't even have to be like, specifically books. It could be stuff that you find on the internet and print. Like you could screenshot information and print that. You could just print instructions or lists or whatever and just print this stuff and then have it, put it all into a binder, and then that would be another resource for you. So you could also do like a digital library as well. I'm going to talk more about digital information and how to keep that secure and safe and all that. I'm sorry, there's like a giant cow right there. So I was just looking at the cow. Sorry, I got distracted. I just looked out and I'm like, that is a huge cow. It's not even that close. It's like way over there. Sorry, distracted. Speaking of cows though, one of the books that I think every prepper should have, whether you're on a homestead or not, is anything about animal husbandry, whether it's raising goats or chickens or anything like that. Those books are invaluable. And just general like homesteading books, the backyard homesteading, anything like that. All those books have a wealth of information. Something else that you also want to consider having is some type of solar, alternative energy, wind generator, anything that can talk about like how to build that stuff, how to make it, so that, like I said, even if you're not even planning on having that stuff right now, get it for the future so that you have those reference guides for the future. Also, any type of gardening reference for your area. Really, I do want to try to get you to be very specific about your area, like desert gardening, very specific, this is going to help me a lot more than it would help somebody, in the north. But any sort of gardening book in general, saving seeds, how to grow specific vegetables, how to grow specific things, like this desert gardening book is really, really good. This is actually a calendar, like a month by month. It shows me, not just vegetables, but flowers and a whole bunch of things, bushes and trees. Like it talks about everything, which is great. And it's already been a huge resource for me. So physical copies of certain books I like to have around. I like to have like stuff like this. Also, something that I like to have physical copies of are recipe books. And specifically, I like to look for books that are going to cook my type of food. Like the food that we store. We store rice and beans and other grains, right? So a lot of these recipes, I can easily make with my food storage. Like this is steamed black rice. It's 1 cup of rice with water, and it talks about exactly how to soak beans, how to prepare beans. It talks about that as well. And then it talks about just regular how to make sticky rice, 1 cup of uncooked sticky rice soaked overnight, and then you cook it or whatever. And then it talks about more stuff like pesto pasta with chickpeas. But one of the main reasons you want to get cookbooks, and it doesn't even have to be like any sort of like prepper related, food storage cookbook, but any cookbook that you're going to use on a regular basis. If you get a super fancy cookbook and you never use it, ditch it and get cookbooks that you're actually going to use, like quick meals, or if you use an Instant Pot, or like cooking with your rice and beans, get those books that are going to be useful for you and your everyday cooking, so that you'll actually make this stuff. So that when you do make it, or even if you're just perusing it and you're like, you know what, this looks really good. These bean burgers, wheat bean burgers. Oh yeah, okay. Uncooked wheat berries, I got that. Olive oil, got that. I don't store kidney beans. Maybe I could store it because this is a really good recipe. So when you are making, food from your cookbooks, if you find a recipe that you really like, you can actually store the stuff from that recipe. More often than not, there's going to be some sort of substitute, or you can omit things like that recipe that I was just talking about, the bean burgers, said like parsley and stuff. If I don't have parsley, who cares? I can put whatever. But also, cooking is going to help you understand, what you could omit and what actually has to go in, So get cookbooks, learn from them, and get the cookbooks that you actually cook from, that you actually want to cook from. And then you can start storing foods, from those cookbooks of recipes that you really, really like. I also think that general wilderness manuals are really good to have. It's good general guides. The SAS Survival Manual is not the only wilderness guide out there, okay? So there's lots of great wilderness guides out there. Look for a variety of them, get different perspectives. And more specifically, if, you live in a very specific region like I do, like I live in the desert. So I have actually a few desert survival handbooks. And so, yeah, desert survival, pretty big deal to me. And let's see, some other, natural first aid items. First aid books in general, really handy. I also have Natural First Aid Handbook. And then I have Essential Oils Handbook. This book has been just fabulous. I love this book. The Portable Essential Oils by Ann Kennedy. Amazing. And then this Natural First Aid book has actually also been amazing. It talks about at-home first aid for hives. Like it talks about using oatmeal and cornstarch and baking soda. And so just natural remedies of stuff that you have at home. Really handy. You could also get some sort of herbal remedies guide, things like that. And then grow the herbs yourself. So for kids, just recently on my newsletter, I did a top 10 list of kids books, but here's a couple that I actually have. I have The Survivor Kid, and then I have Playful Preparedness. These are great books for kids. Any type of preparedness or survival book, just look up like kid preparedness or kid survival, and you'll come up with a lot of books actually. And there's even outdoor kids books. Really good. So, these have like really fun things to do. Like, let's look for, animal tracks. Let's, make a shelter, things like that. Sure, you could probably think of this stuff, but my kid, I don't know about yours, but she loves to look at books and then do that thing from that book. So, it's just something handy. It's that third party for that kid. I don't want to listen to mom. I want to listen to the book because the book is super smart, right? So sometimes books can definitely help facilitate with kids. Again, more cooking. I've been obsessed with campfire cooking. Any sort of like Dutch oven, campfire cooking, any type of book like that, I have been just obsessed with getting. Some of them have been disappointing, but personally, I like to have physical books of recipe books and reference books. I really don't like searching through a recipe on an ebook. It drives me mad, but that's just my opinion. I do still have ebook recipe guides. Like I have, speaking of recipes, canning, dehydrating books, things like that. It does kind of drive me mad to have those in ebook format. So what I'm slowly doing is I'm slowly progressing and getting books. I'm trying to look for used books. I get used books online through biblio.com. They're an independent bookseller. They're not owned by Amazon or anything like that. So you can find independent booksellers, used books from independent booksellers. And I've been finding a ton of great deals. I bought like a bunch of books recently for like super, super cheap. And so every once in a while, I'm just going to, try to get those used books or, acquire a book, a month or a book every couple months or something like that. So wild edible books, I always recommend that people have wild edible books. for your specific area. You know, find something that's going to be for you, like Wild Plants of Arizona. That is going to be useful for me. A Wild Plants of Oregon is not going to be useful for me, or even of the Northwest or Northeast. Wild edibles are different all over the place. Even wild edibles from Texas to Arizona are different. There are some similarities, but there are still some differences as well. So, you know, try to get something very region specific, but general guides can be maybe helpful, but really those region specific are really going to help you out more than general books. I like to just find safety and security books, things like that. Like I have the book, the Secure Dad book. I love that book. Really good for like home security, personal safety, that kind of thing. This is a spy secrets that can save your life. It's a lot of situational awareness, stuff like that. One of my friends, Kelly from the Diamond Arrow group, she's coming out with a book, Situational Awareness. Very excited about that. But anyway, my point is, you know, any type of safety, security books, things like that, things to increase your safety and security, situational awareness books. And in saying that, I actually have a book here. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? I just had it. Here it goes. Okay, this is Training for Sudden Violence, 72 Practical Drills. This is by the same author of Facing Violence and Meditations on Violence. So he has really good, those other books are really fantastic. But anything that's going to help me mentally prepare as well as physically prepare, you know, drills. I like really actionable advice, things like that. So also another really good reference, knot tying. Again, any type of survival or wilderness or, you know, camping, backpacking, outdoor cooking, knot tying. This has like 1 million knots in it. I think I will use like 1 or 2, but this is really fun with my kid Rogue. She's been getting really into knot tying. And so we use this as a really visual guide. What a terrible page to turn to. Anyway, this has a lot of really good visuals in it. So I like books like this. Generally books that have like a lot of pictures, like this drills book has some good pictures in it. They're black and white, but it still works for that purpose. And then more cooking books. Like I said, I went a little insane with cooking books. It's like all outdoor cooking books, but yeah, really anything like that. Also, books about like how to make your own cheeses, how to like just make your own stuff, like how to make oils, like how to make these things from scratch, right? Like things that you might use every day, how to make vinegar, how to use vinegar, how to use these things that we're also storing. I have a huge blog post down below with a ton of book ideas as well as links to specific books that I recommend. But in general, when it comes to building your prepper library, don't just look for things that you want to learn now. Look for things that you want to do in the future. Beekeeping. Maybe you want to have a homestead in the future. Gardening, you know, maybe you want like a big garden in the future. You know, get books about these things that you want for the future as well. And also in general, like books, like car maintenance books, home maintenance books, things like that, are all going to be really helpful. For now, as well as, you know, in the future, just general maintenance, learning how to do these things yourself, huge benefit. And then also in general, I do want to mention general kids books, like kid activity books, educational books for kids, as such as like the educational activity books where they can write, you know, certain things. Any type of book like that that's going to educate children as well as help them, you know, keep them busy and active and things like that, can also help them with their education, of course. But anything like that, coloring books, things like that, all very helpful for kids. Recently, I also got a couple books about wine making and home distilling, things like that. So, and they are fascinating books. Some of them go into so much detail that I'm just like, oh boy, I'm in a little over my head, but all really good stuff. And yeah, so I also have a few books. They are not physical books, but they are ebooks. Please head to my website at ropepreparedness.com and click the books section to check out my books. But they are also available on Amazon. I'm trying to make them into physical format as well, but they're pretty short, so they'd be small books. But in general, I also do have a few books. But thank you all so much for watching. I'd love to hear any book recommendations that you have. What I really look for when it comes to books from my library is unique books. I don't want, just that SAS, survival guide. I don't want just, the super popular books. And they don't even cover a lot of subjects that I personally want or need. Like I want kid preparedness books. I want, homesteading books. I want, very specific things. Like I want books on goats. I want books on beekeeping. I want books on, training for violence. I want books on very specific things. And I think, the more niche down you can get can be really helpful for you as well. You can grab that one book about knots instead of searching through a whole other book to, try to find that section about books. But while I like to be really categorized with my books, some people like to have their books all in one. So again, just find whatever's going to work best for you. And I don't think you can ever have too many books. But yeah, let me know how you're building up your prepper library. Take it one step at a time. Find used books. Go to used books libraries, and you can also check out books, download stuff from the internet, and build up that knowledge. Thank you all so much for watching. Check out the links down below in my description. Conquer tomorrow by preparing today. I'll talk to you later. Bye.